Blog Talk Radio.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to The Balance, my minions. My name is Marquis, Presidente, as we roll right into week number 2 of quarantine and doing our show in a comfortable social distance level in the home studio of The Balance in the west suburbs of Indianapolis. It's been crazy, but we're going to get through this. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. They say this coronavirus will peak somewhere between mid-April or so. So we'll see what happens with that. Big news coming out of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll get into that in the next half hour. Again, this is another abbreviated show because sports are abbreviated right now. But Matthew Embury will get into the big news, how it affects the Indianapolis 500 and what's been going on down there at the track. A lot of news coming out of the track, how it revolves around NASCAR, IndyCar, and the Indianapolis 500. The good news is there is going to be an Indianapolis 500, and there is going to be an Indianapolis 500 with fans. So that's something to be very optimistic about. But coming up, right, standing by in the Balance Green Room is Mo for the BS Sports Show. We're going to break down the free agency world of the NFL. Why? Because that's pretty much all we have to talk about. We'll throw in some other little bits of other stuff, but we'll get into that for sure. But the good thing about it is we're live, 917-889-8516. We're not a video game, I promise. We'll be right back right here on the Balance Radio Network.
The Air National Guard is a reserve component of the United States Air Force and serves alongside active-duty Air Force members in times of a national crisis. In addition, the Air Guard serves the state and local community in a wide range of capacities. The reason people join the Air Guard is as diverse as our members and includes such reasons as a deep desire to serve their country, money for college, travel, new job skills, and the pride that goes along with belonging to the greatest military organization in the world. I joined because I felt a calling to serve my country, but I didn't want to be far away from my family, so the Indiana Air National Guard was a perfect fit for me. With over 95 different career opportunities to choose from and 100% paid college tuition to any state-funded college, why not give us a call? Call 1-800-841-3103 or visit online at goang.com to find out more. Again, that's 1-800-841-3103. The Air National Guard, guarding America, defending freedom.
I can't believe it. I've been playing 4-on-4 with a barbershop quartet.
Pass the ball, pass the rock. We're open, just pass the ball.
Nah, I can't believe how easy it was to save hundreds of dollars on my car insurance with Geico. Yeah.
Believe it, Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Morning face. You get it when you don't sleep well. This is what happened to Linda.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. Ah, what is that thing?
It's me, Linda.
Oh my God, it talks! Run!
No, it's me, Linda from HR.
It looks hungry! Save the children! Save them! Stay back! I've got mace!
Ow, that went in my eye.
Quit moving!
It's called beauty sleep for a reason. And there's never been a better time to get some.
Get 20% off IKEA Sultan mattresses. IKEA, love your home.
All right, and welcome back to the Balance Right Shot. Marcus El Presidente. We're rolling right into week number 2 of quarantine, and helping us kick things off is Mo from the BS Sports Show. Mo, how are you, sir?
Bored.
Yeah, bored. Well, at least you don't have the corona, right? I'll tell you what. You know, I saw a meme today that said, now I understand why my dogs bark at everything that walks by. I think I just barked at a squirrel. It's crazy times, and you know it's been really we're just doing everything for work from home. Every call that we make, every client interaction that we have is done virtually, and it's yesterday we had a team meeting, and we played some games just to keep the spirits up. But, you know, the good thing about it is the NFL is like a cockroach. You can't kill it. It always pops up. So we're in the middle of the free agency world right now. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on in the free agency. One of the ones that I think is probably one of the ones to talk about, and we'll get into some of these others here in just a minute, and that's Marcus Mariota deciding to, or maybe it wasn't his decision anyway, leaving Tennessee, going to Las Vegas. I still got my tongue around that, to the Raiders, to join John Gruden and Carr team. Over or under? I mean, does Derek Carr start 2 games or more? Is this more of a Derek Carr kind of thing or is there a quarterback controversy? Is there quarterback competition there? You would think that Marcus Mariota took that job with the understanding that, you know, he's going to take it away from Derek Carr. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he looked around and realized that was his best chance to become a starter, probably again in the NFL. I think if you're Marcus Mariota, you've got to realize that you've got some proving to do to get back to being a starter. But, you know, John Gruden has said from day one since he took over that Derek Carr wasn't his ideal quarterback. And, you know, you take a guy like Mariota in there, and he's looking to come in there and compete for the starting job and possibly take it over. I don't think Derek Carr is the quarterback for that team the entire season next year or this year for sure. So Mariota, I think his people scan the situation in the NFL right now, and they said, okay, here's your best shot. So he's now a Raider. Albeit in a backup role technically right now, but we'll see what happens as we get closer to the season.
Well, that seems to be the thing with the Raiders is they come out with a knockout punch, but when it comes time to needing to win games to get into a playoff position, they seem to fail miserably. And I think that's going to be the real big test for Derek Carr on whether or not he keeps his job. You know, one of the biggest signings in the free agency was Tom Brady leaving the New England Patriots. So that leaves a door open to with the New England Patriots. We talked about last week about their backup, but now it looks like Brian Hoyer is going to be a player in that mix. And Brian Hoyer sat here on our bench all year last year for the most part. He didn't start any games with the Colts. So my thoughts are, and I wonder, would we go back and look at this differently, because hindsight's always the best teacher. Bill Belichick has a way of putting quarterbacks in situations and making them winners. Do they go with their backup guy that nobody's heard of, or do they go with Brian Hoyer? And if so, if Brian Hoyer goes in there and begins to win games and gets them to another playoff and God forbid a Super Bowl, what will we as a Colts organization be looking at?
Well, I think we looked last year and found out that Brian Hoyer should not start any games in the NFL again. But, you know, don't be shocked that Bill Belichick has a way of pulling things off. Don't be shocked if Jacoby Brissett is back in New England. You know, it's very possible that there could be a move made where Jacoby Brissett winds up back as a New England Patriots starting quarterback. Also, there have been rumors abound that the Texans would be willing to move Deshaun Watson. So I know the Patriots have inquired They've stockpiled picks like always, and there's a good possibility we could see Deshaun Watson as a starting quarterback up there. Right now, I think they're happy with Jarrett Stidham as it sits right this very second, but don't be shocked if Bill doesn't pull something off on draft day.
So you still think there's a way that there's a path that Jacoby isn't with the Colts next year?
I think there is. I think you're holding on to a guy. If the Colts draft a quarterback, like we talked about last week, I would be 100% certain that Jacoby Brissett is on his way out.
Well, we'll see what happens in the draft. As it stands now, the draft is going on as planned, full speed ahead. It doesn't always mean that a player in the free agency that a player moves teams, and we saw that happen with Drew Brees, the New Orleans Saints, 2 years, $50 million. I mean, it's a pretty solid deal for the Saints and Drew Brees, and I think Drew Brees is proven that he's the franchise quarterback down there, and he's probably likely going to retire from down there. What are your thoughts on the re-signing of Drew Brees down with New Orleans Saints, 2 years, $50 million?
Well, first off, a big congrats to Drew Brees and his wife for donating $5 million yesterday to help relief efforts in Louisiana. I think that the Saints realize they're right there on the cusp of becoming a Super Bowl team. They added Emmanuel Sanders to that mix. Drew's the guy that makes that team go, and he still can play at a very high level. So, they decided that that's where they wanted to go. They let Teddy Bridgewater walk out the door, and if nothing else, that tells you 100% that Drew's their guy at least for the next 2 years. So, a great move by the Saints. There, your window is usually small. Unlike the Patriots, your window's usually small when you've got a championship caliber team. So, I think I think the Saints realize that. They help add more weapons around there, and Drew's going to be their guy for at least the next 2 years. Well,
I echo what you said about Drew Brees and the money that he gave to the relief efforts down there. And, New Orleans as a city has just kind of been through a lot. You think back to Katrina, and now they're the second most infected city for the coronavirus, next to only New York City. And it's gotten so bad with New York and New York City that neighboring states have said, hey, if you're from New York, you got to quarantine. You can't come in our state. So it's kudos to him. Brian Poole, cornerback for the Jets. The deal is a 1-year deal, $5 million. What do you think about Brian Poole being the cornerback there with the Jets?
The Jets find ways to screw things up a lot of times, all the time. To me, that's not really a needle-moving move for those guys. Yeah, gives you a little extra depth at cornerback, but they need so much. The Jets do. They need so much. And so, we're a team like the Saints or the Colts or the Titans, a team that's close, to playoffs. That's probably a pretty solid move for the Jets. There's just so much needed there that it doesn't really move the needle for me.
So Tampa, not only did they sign Tom Brady, but they also got themselves a pretty good defensive tackle, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name, but we'll just go with Sua being in the last name, 1 year, $8 million.
Yeah, getting Ndamukong Suh back, I think, is huge for them.
Man, you just let that roll right off your tongue there, bro.
I know. He's not the guy he used to be, obviously, when it comes to a guy who's getting a ton of sacks, but he can still disrupt things up front, and he's great against the run. And I think that's the reason that they brought him back. Even though he's not collecting 10-plus sacks a year, he's a guy who's helping that team stop the run. And I think, with any NFL team, with any defense, especially with a defense that's going to have a pretty damn good offense, I think that, a run stopper right in the middle of that line is what every team wants. So they got that in Ndamukong Suh, and he'll be back there for another year in Tampa.
Brian Beluga, offensive tackle for the Chargers, 3 years, $30 million. It's not a bad deal. I don't know that it's the best deal. I don't know that, like you say, a needle mover, but I think it's certainly a solid deal.
Well, the line for the Chargers last year was terrible, and I think that was one of those moves they made when they were pursuing Tom Brady. They were looking at trying to shore up that line and say, hey, look, Tom, everything's going to be okay down here in Los Angeles, but it didn't work. It didn't work, so now they've got an older, very high-paid guy, but if they draft a quarterback, which we all assume they're going to, that'll be good, for him. He's still a guy who can get it done on that offensive line. But, I think that was a response to try to get Tom Brady, and it didn't work out. But